Hey guys, and welcome back to my EU5 Poland campaign. You see, at the end of the last episode we formed the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, actually Polish-Lithuanian-Ruthenian Commonwealth. You see we have the triple union flag. There's a dynamic flag when you also own the Ukrainian lands as Poland. We have all of these terrains for ourselves, and all of these are our subjects. We currently have 60 subjects. We are military, diplomatic, and cultural hegemon, and number 2 great power. Great campaign so far. We keep scaling. You see the base tax is at 1,100 already, and the next step for me for today is to expand into Russia and reclaim Silesia, Smolensk, for Poland. I also annexed Halich, aka Halich, at the end of the last episode. That's why my control is high. It's gonna be dropping down because of low proximity. I've got most of this as my cores, and I'll be converting these lands. But over here on these few locations, I'm just gonna release yet another subject. There is no need for me to core this. Sponsor of this video is enable.com, which is a digital marketplace where you can find thousands of games, DLCs, gift cards, or even subscriptions like Netflix, whatever you're looking for yourself, for your family, for your friends as a gift. If you're planning to buy something, make sure to check the link in the video description because you'll find plenty of games at a discounted price. Look at that Hogwarts Legacy, for example. For my own terrains, you see I'm building lots of towns and cities. Whatever I could improve to a city with enough of population is a city already. And same, I keep scaling my base tax by building there, and I've got plenty of updated rules already. That's why, even though my capital is still in Kraków, the proximity is spreading. And you might ask, why are you keeping the capital in Kraków, why not in Warsaw? Well, this is because of how rivers work. You see, these are the Vistula River, and just take a look. When I go to the proximity, let's go to Warsaw. And you see, when I go to the proximity, for example, a cost from Kraków to Proszowice, you see by default the proximity cost is 40 between the two locations inland. But if you go downstream along the river, you see that this is decreasing to just 10. And this is why I'm keeping it in Kraków for now, because with the good infrastructure, I can nicely spread my proximity across big chunk of our lands, and now it's even more important to spread to Halich. But at one point, especially when I annex these lands, I will want to move my capital to Warsaw. Just right now, my base tax, 110 of it, so almost 10%, is in Kraków. I don't want to lose 100 control here. I did beat the nobility, so my crown is high. I'm also increasing that by employing my own guys from the crown into cabinet. You see these 3 bonuses, as well as a commander and admiral. And what I also keep doing is to increase the amount of characters available as courtiers. And that is being done by simply letting them have a lot of sex. So I'm going to the crown characters, males, not married, and I'm making sure each of them is married to some nobles. Could also marry them to Lombors, but I just don't like that. I want to only do that into the nobles. 172, remember that number, we're gonna increase it over the episode. I also have a decent standing army. You see there's 50 regiments here with 8,000 troops. It might be too big to stay within one stack, and to be honest, I'll be splitting into 2. We anyway want out of armories because that's one of the reasons why we are boosting our economy so fast. You know, armories are just requiring so many goods to be produced. Since I'm a diplomatic hegemon, I can have a unique diplomatic action, which is assimilating the whole goddamn area. That's why I'm gonna do this on Moldavia to make sure this all becomes core soon. So how about we build spy network on Smolensk? Once I get a diplomat, we create a religious war casus belli and we go after them. Well, in the meantime, on Bohemia, I'll be using the parliament casus belli. They don't really... Oh, they actually are like both Aragon and England, so that's not gonna be an easy war. But I think we're at the point of a strength where, like, amount of the levies plus the standing army, we should be quite alright defeating Bohemia, even though they have the same base tax as we do. We just unlocked from advance a new law, laws, as they usually give nice bonuses and you can shape better your society values. So for example, dynastic administration is more centralization. It's reduced power of these guys, but legislative efficiency, we don't like it because that's more antagonist received. How about we go for this, which gives us efficiency of the cabinet? That looks not bad. I think it looks the best among everything. How is our efficiency of the cabinet at this point? It's just 44%. And of course, each of these guys are also increasing it far. This guy says 160 because he's head of the cabinet. I'm also increasing amount of the towns around here, since there's also not much people living there. Since they have money and already have also proximity for these lands. In the meantime, waiting just for more locations to hit 30,000 population, so I can build cities. For now, it's Oświęcim that is becoming a city. I'm also gonna continue getting the external buildings that give me trade capacity and trade advantage in the markets outside of my own. So this way I can have a better chance of actually getting goods from there and also simply get more money. And these markets, I'm just gonna automate it. I'm only micromanaging the Krakow market, as you see. Making 600 ducats a month is quite a lot. Also keep in mind, my spendings are not that small. I have 80 on buildings, 140 stability, 160 on the subjects. And of course, forts and army will be higher once we are at war. Honestly, my proximity is already going towards belts here. And I also start building roads towards these locations. And the proximity is spreading, so the drop of the control is not gonna be that bad. I want to annex belts. Jan Długosz is creating a regionally well-known Annals of Poland. And I think in Polish it's as simply as like Roczniki. Historia Królestwa Polskiego. That's nice that, you know, they implement this kind of stuff into the game. I also was reviewing some stuff of my setup and I figured out that I shouldn't be doing first come first serve employment system. You see, it's going us towards traditional economy. We want to go towards capital economy as it gives us production efficiency. See, that's what it's gonna do. And of course, the profitable buildings will be prioritized for the employment. Anyway, let's declare on Smolensk. They will be held by Chernigov and Wielki Novgorod. So that's not gonna be a small war. And I figured out that they actually have a claim called follow through on threat, which gives reduced cost of taking locations. Where I'm getting this CB from? Don't ask me because I don't know. If you know, let me know in comments. I love learning new stuff about this game. It's not like I have 10,000 hours in it. And I'm gonna try fighting simply with only my standing armies, which is 10,000. Might not be enough, but I have subjects helping out. So let's see if this will be enough. If not, I have the levies ready. And usually AIs do not pay much for the fort. So let's see if we can rush some at the start of the war. This one was fully paid. And this one was not fully paid. So at least I can rush some forts here at Smolensk. Maybe even their capital. After raising levies, they have 21,000 troops. So maybe with my subjects, we have a bit more. But we may issue that this to everything garrisons whenever they siege something down. Oh, see, country strength of all fiefdom versus overlord is actually making some of these guys disloyal. Almost all of them, actually. Wait, what? Do you see that? This guy's have 13,000 of troops. That is the only reason I'm gonna get all of the levies up. Just to make them loyal. Let's see. Yeah, that should be helpful. Did it update? I'm wondering if they actually nerfed it in the patch. That this really impacts the loyalty of the subjects. I hope they did, as it was one of my main suggestions. But I'll keep observing that. Yeah, I think if all of them actually raise their levies, they have so much quantity that it makes them disloyal altogether. I think I have to annex Mazar. They're just too strong. They're too big, too strong. Mazar is here. And maybe annex and release smaller subjects out of it. Yeah, something has to help. So in a nutshell, when these AIs will also start building more of standing army, it's gonna be an increasing problem for us. But when I'm in the peace right now, loyalty will be fine. because I have a big standing army, but over time it's gonna be worse. I definitely have to increase the size of my standing army a bit more. I will separate piece Chernihiv, just breaking the alliances. Could take probably some lands, lots of it, but there's no really rush. Let me instead take money and war operations. I'm getting a bit worried actually by these guys being so disloyal at war. I mean, yeah, they have more troops than I do altogether. Let's declare a Sejm in Krakow. Make sure I get the right support. And do we want to fabricate claim on these guys? Bohemia? We do. Let's go for Leśnica. That war will be much harder. Look, my spread of control is really nice. All the hundreds around Krakow, all these 80s here, 64 already in Warsaw, and I'm even spreading it up towards Toruń for 48. A bit farther, it's just, you know, a work ahead of us. Anyway, I'm taking all of this from Smolensk. As promised, expanding farther east. Chernihiv will be fixed. This looks much better. You see, you're still below our diplomatic capacity. But I definitely do want to annex these guys. Because their loyalty needs to be fixed. I think they have to just remove their troops. I also built more of the regulars myself. How about we get... Let's make sure to make more experience. 10 more units. See, now we've got only 4 subjects that are disloyal. This 3 is mostly because of their negative relations. So it is fixable. Problem is the goddamn mother. And it's because I'm still diverting trade from them. So if I stop diverting, it's gonna be easy. I mean, I'm not earning that much in Kiev anyway. So I will stop diverting. Got a Sibiu in Austria. For the claim from Sibiu. Are these guys easier potential to defeat? Bohemia wouldn't join. This looks easy. If we declare on Bohemia, this also looks not that bad. We have to do that. Let's prepare. Again, most of the subjects will go disloyal as soon as we start the war. Yeah, let's try getting from Austria. In general, I don't like. Okay, I like the union's mechanics. They're pretty nice, but it's sometimes misleading, not nicely explained, and in general it's more worth to get a multiple small subjects, as I do here, than one big union. But Austria Union, that's something that I like, and I'm gonna try getting. They have 44,000, so that's definitely a bigger of a challenge. That's why, besides my standing armies, I'm bringing this 20,000 of levies. Can I actually mix levies with standing armies? Yeah, without being too much over the capacity. That should make the rush of the forts a bit less hurting if we have a bigger advantage. Yeah, this is totally fine. And this one here should also not be bad. We just captured Vienna. Vienna is not their capital. Where's the war goal? Innsbruck. Innsbruck should be the mountains, right? Yeah, it is here. You know what, guys? I might not want to do that. This is 500 antagonism. Should be whole Europe in a coalition. Yeah, I might just end up taking some money and attacking Bohemia instead full Salish. Yeah, let me just piece this out for money. I hope the union would not cost that much, but it is what it is. I have to cancel now the levies so I can declare the war, recover quickly the manpower troops, and we attack Bohemia. And our great king just died. New one is not as good. Jerzy. Is the sun at least better? It is, but not much. You know what's the problem? One of the stats that the king is impacting is diplomatic capacity, which now, with much shittier king, actually decreased. I'm 30% over it, which is not that tragic, but it means I have to annex Belz. It's only gonna take 3 years, and then I should probably go farther for the next one and the next one. Probably this free to be annexed. At least that annexation is going really fast. For a month. And it's gonna be finished in just 2 years from now. Ahead of the war with Bohemia, I just took the Papal Bull. This one that gives minus 20% antagonist received. That should help. And we gotta declare. I don't like that these guys are not loyal. Well, yeah, see, I went tiny bit too far with the amount of the subjects. Maybe 77 is a bit too much. I'll anyway use all of my levies for Bohemia. But the one, let's see if we can rush 2 or 4 forts. They were paying for it partly. And I actually didn't even have enough power to rush this down. This one has less defenders though. Yeah, you now refill the garrison and connect with these levies. Let's get all the levies to Krakow. You go and connect to these guys as well. Oh yeah, a lot of the trade is gonna be cancelled now as well. Almost half of my trade got cancelled. They have 61,000 troops altogether, 44,000 from Bohemia itself. I have to be cautious. They just attacked me here, 36,000. I've lost in Wrocław. I was about to rush that fort. They also attacked me in here. And let's see if we can reinforce it fast enough. I think I should. That was a standing army, so they were standing for a while, but if this 30k is coming, I might be screwed. Okay, they're not coming. Let's get these guys back to reinforce. This stacks are having my manpowers. Yes. Get back here! At least that should be a decent amount of war score, even though you're already in Age of Discovery. So the war score from battles is minus 20%. Let's see. They attacked me, so that should be a minus 2 battle for them. It's huge. It's not that easy, but they've lost 11,000 troops here. That's 6 war score. So in general, there are less stacks in Hegemony. Like, see, there are a lot of mid-sized countries. It's not like 500 at the start of the game. How many HRE has at the start? Like, what, 200? 300, I think. There's not that many of them left. They have 110,000 troops already altogether. So if we count all of my subjects, it's not that easy. But it's England and Aragon content, and I didn't see their troops yet. Hopefully they will not come. Another huge battle, but again I'm defender. So that should be allowing us to, accumulate more losses on their side, and more importantly, war score. Losses are also important because the bigger imbalance there is between the numbers on both sides, and the less war enthusiasts they're gonna have. And the less war enthusiasts they have, the more likely they are to peace out. See, another 10,000 died, but 6,000 on my side. As this potential coalition might happen when I take too much, I'm already improving relations with Hungary, Austria, Lower Bavaria, and some other big attack. This is actually something that might be a lifesaver. Increased ties to subjects. A big loyalty, and also the liberty desire decreased at the end of this. I want to go towards belligerent. I don't want to go towards traditionalism. You can just use this to get it to 50. Unluckily for England is actually helping, just not navally. What is this? Where did it come from? And I have yet another huge battle with Bohemia. These are really exhausting. My own levies are down to 20,000. And my standing army is down to 2,000. And myself, I'm out of manpower to even reinforce, while England just came. So we have to start going towards a peace solution. But this is not enough. I want to take more. Anyway, through catching the small stacks, that's a bit of war score. But also taking war score since I hold the war goal, I'm steadily going towards getting that peace. They also besieging, but my manpower troops are not ready to fight. Bohemia actually just pieced out separately my subject. And they took this lands. Can you imagine that? Give it back. Now, you see, one of you might have said, oh, Zlewikk, you already won that game, why are you continuing this? I'm having troubles beating Bohemia, because that goddamn Bohemia has the same base tax as I do. Even though I've killed 77,000 of their troops, it's still really balanced. We only have 3 more thousand troops than they have. It's because of this goddamn Aragon and England being in the war. Could I separate peace? No, not releasing subjects. For now, I'm retaking Memel. And I'm taking a nice chunk of Silesia here. Not sure you probably know AE at all. Actually, there's plenty. Like, for example, this guy's 19. We'll be taking the rest of Silesia over time. And as you see, that's not gonna be an easy job. My balance is not as high when I'm having a lower legitimacy, so I'm paying 450 even for it. That's why I'm aiming to get it up to 100. Just got another antagonist received bonus for the next 10 years, which means I have to try again on Bohemia. I think I have to rush a bit more early arquebusers here. Military tactics, like all of the military bonuses. That might be one of the reasons why it wasn't too easy. I'm about to unlock 2 very useful advances. One for the urban building costs, so most of the buildings we're getting, and second for the building costs in general. So these 2 combined would be very useful to further scale. And we just proclaimed the economic hegemony. As you see, this very close battle between us and Delhi, Rush of Delhi, so the Hindu Delhi. Since I got the books workshop so earlier than everyone else, I'm already leveraging that my production efficiency, my production method is so much better. I'm actually starting to earn decent amount of money from selling the books via trade, and there's so much more over here. And the city of Halic, aka Halich, can also become a city. I'll be again looking for some locations with 30,000 population, so I can turn them into cities. It's really interesting that Płock is the second city that is having so much migration attraction, 170,000 and 400,000 in Krakow. Under war with Eastern Europeans, because I'm clearing border with Chernigov, and I think I'll end up making them whole, my subjects, because I can't afford releasing like 5 subjects here. Actually, since I can also get my parliament over 50%, let's do that, because when I played the Ruined campaign as Bohemia, I recommend checking it, I realized that there's one law that is available from Poland and I did not see before, and this is the law of royal card customs. See, currently I'm having noble estate satisfaction, but there's itinerant card that gives move capital costs, royal parliaments, decentralization. Doesn't matter, I'm anyway going so much towards centralization, I can afford this. Most importantly, proximity cost through land is minus 10%. Let me go ahead and take it. So once that law is embraced, we can fix our proximity even further. Let's see, maybe let's put Torun as a benchmark for us. Torun currently, guys, is having 45.4 max control. I'm gonna note it down and I'm gonna get back to this. And so some of you are saying in the comments that I should switch my language of the card. I think that's gonna be here, from Latin to my own, even though it's a strong language power, and it does give this 2 bonuses. Let's do so. Now Lehitic is giving me peasant satisfaction instead of nobility, cultural influence, which is definitely useful, and trade capacity. I think that's rather more worth it, and it will be, of course, strengthening that culture. I also have enough culture capacity to now accept Volhynian. I was just... Before that, I was just tolerating it. It's not gonna help a lot, but once I annex this subject, it's gonna help. Now with Chernigov turned into a subject, we need a month to actually, yeah. Look how good our borders are. I'll keep improving that. Now we have to count for all of these guys to turn off the levies, so we get at least over half of them loyal. Look, it's really visible on the first glance that the proximity is so much better now. Like, I even have some proximity in Gdańsk, which wasn't the case before. And that might be even a turning point to actually make a decision to change capital to Warszawa. But I think I'm gonna annex these few subjects first before I move it to Warszawa. Kraków is still very important. And Toruń, remember, 45.4 of control. Now the new equilibrium is 10% higher. And all of this control, you see, is just getting better and better. I'm even spreading the control in a great manner here to Galicia. For the next war of Bohemia, I need to build more forts. It was clear in the previous war that it wasn't enough. And again, I'll be doing that from the tactical map mode. So also cover it nicely. And probably fort map mode will be also good. Just to see how much of the terrains are covered. See, for example, over here in the north, I might need a few forts as well. Forts are much better in EU5 and EU4 because besides defending, you see they also have some required goods for the production method, which means they're creating demand for these goods in the market. And of course, with an increase of control over the locations, also my base tax got much higher, 1.6 thousand. We also just hit 200 characters in the country, and we'll keep increasing that. In the meantime, preparing also for the War of Bohemia, improving relations with the bigger powers here. The antagonism from taking locations already went down, but I want to be over-prepared. Since my proximity is spreading so nicely, I'm also doing a big push for the new towns all around the country, so I can spread my control even better. See, I'm missing some paper in the market. Let me show you a trick. So, you know, in general, it's great to use the mass builder. It's not always the best because it might not take into account if there are, you know, actual hands to work on this, the laborers. But when you click, it gets to the one that gives you the most profit. When you click with Control, it builds in 5 locations with the best profit. If you click with Shift, it's gonna spend all your money to get it in as many locations as possible. Area Pulsers should help me a lot with the subjects' loyalty. So they all have some standing armies. Because I can double the amount of my armies. Well, maybe not double, but almost double. Because you see that arquebusers have twice the amount of regiments than men-at-arms. So you see now I have to recover 12,000 troops. So I'm gonna go up from 12,000 to 23,000 total armies. And all of this should be increasing as an effect. See, Mazir 44, 39. Yeah, 44.8. And we're gonna slowly fix that. And on top of it, even though over my limits, so I think that's, oh my god, yeah, that's just armies reinforcing. Could wait for the halberdiers though, and create 30 of them and mix all the stacks between each other. It's fine. Let's just do yet another arquebuser stack. Funnily enough, all the forts that I've been building, I just reached my 4th limit as well. This is interesting. It's the first time that I actually did so. Since I've got a cabinet member free to do something, I'm gonna use him to change associative values. It is time for us to go towards capital economy. So it gives production efficiency. Might make some issue with the food. We should be fine. Just check our values. See, now it was going towards capital economy, but I'm gonna make it go towards it faster. We've got an even chain about Union of Brest, which is about making Orthodox more happy. You see, I could grant a privilege to Szlachta, that is decreasing my pro-conversion speed, and it is saying that this is a requirement for the next events about that union. Let me take it and let's see what happens. I can always cancel that privilege later. This is something that I really need. Increase ties to subjects. Initially, I'm just gonna get loyalty and subject income. That's just for a while. And then all of the guys are gonna lose 5 liberty desire. That is really... Oh, and also land focus. Yes, please. Now, many more subjects are loyal, including the guys that I want to annex here. and finish in 2 years. My tax base just keeps skyrocketing in the meantime in the year 1500. Early burn veto, okay. What does it do? No. But alternative. It's for 50 years. Oh my god. But why would I get the even about Liberum Veto if I destroyed Szlachta in a disaster earlier? These two should be linked to each other, shouldn't they? That also gives Szlachta 500% power. I have to go for the second option. Let's see, 260 tax down to 190, which is not that bad actually. So Bohemia wants to give us Oleśnica in exchange for an alliance, because they have a civil war. But no, I'm gonna go after you. I've got armories already built everywhere. Now I can also build training fields. So armories can be built in towns and cities. Training fields can be built in the rural locations. So let me invest to get some manpower. And same, this is another big demand that's gonna create in the market to boost our base tax. I don't know what happened to my outliner, but maybe let's start the game to fix it. You know, looking for solutions, how to fix the loyalty of the subjects. I actually found a way, which is an X turning off, to make them a vassal, not a fiefdom. We can switch one of our guarantee forms, for example, one about food production. And instead we have a few choices, but the most important one is the loyalty of subjects plus 15. That should be a game changer for us. Of course, that's gonna be implemented over time, but with this, I'm sure we can fix the loyalty of most of the subjects. And then on top of that, I think I'll cancel like 1 or 2 subjects around here while annexing these guys to completely fix it. In the meantime, in reaction to the change of our guarantee form, our ruler died, which is temporarily problematic because see, his stats are not as good as the previous one, but I figured out why the stats of rulers of my rulers are increasing so fast. You know, when you call a parliament, there is often an issue that is increasing at the end of it when it's successful skills of your ruler. And when you have 70 fiefdoms, fiefdoms have the same ruler as you do. When you have 70 fiefdoms, there's a chance that every now and then, a few of them will get that's issue from the parliament. That's why very quickly I'm getting my ruler stats to maximum. Now the law implemented, you see, is still like 30 few subjects, so half of the subjects still being disloyal. That increased my diplomacy income. This guy's getting annexed is gonna fix it, and then I'm building Spaniard on these guys, so I'm gonna release them and attack immediately once I get a casus belli. Oh, by the way, there's a casus belli disloyal subject. Minus 50% cost. I want to check that one. I wanted to do the like cleanse heresy, but let's look at this. With all of the proximity bonuses stacked, it's also time to finally move our capital to Warszawa. Let's go historical. I'll be also expanding these terrains to get it even better. This is of course gonna take 200 days and cost me 12,000 ducats and some stability. And that's my proximity. I'll be able to better spread the proximity here in Poland, a bit worse in Galicia, but that's an improvement for later. I was waiting with that change to be able to efficiently spread control to Kraków. It has 160 of base tax, so we don't want to lose all of that by losing the control. I should have like 75% control from my tests once the capital is moved. So now that the capital is gonna get moved, we'll need a monthtick for the update of proximity map. So look, that's the current proximity map before switching the capital. With the capital switched, that's the new proximity map. I think it's better, of course a bit worse here, but definitely better here. And control, you see, Kraków equilibrium is gonna go down to 73% now. We definitely need to improve our ruler's admin skill for that proximity cost here, but in general, look, for example, this is gonna change up to 70%, this up to 73%. Taurin, for example, is gonna be 80%, a bit less, obviously, in Southern, Poland, but overall, I think that should be long-term, especially a good improvement. And now Poles getting any buildings until the proximity is updated, so we have a better understanding of what's actual worth of some buildings. House of Parliament building is gonna be very helpful, and that's for Warsaw. That's gonna make it permanent parliament and also give me crown power. So I cancel the 15th status, and immediately I'm gonna declare. Let's see if I will be able to declare that war with the disloyal subjects city, because they're not my subjects anymore. After the month tick. Hopefully it's gonna work. Looks like it works. So this is just perfect. Let's just rush them down. And you see that's also already making like 20 subjects right now are disloyal. So this is a good learning for us, because it means now I can just build spy network and create CB, and then immediately release the subjects and attack them to conquer lands for myself. These guys are being annexed, and we need to right now work next on a CB on any. Now I have to find disloyal subjects to create that CB. And let's build spy network on these guys in the meantime. Another interesting mechanic that I would like to show you is in the market screen. You see, it's not only color for each of the market, but you see there's different gradation of the color. For example, in Książ, I've got market access of 95%. In Gdańsk, I've got a market access of just 58%. And the UI does a terrible job explaining you what the market access does. If you hover here, it's saying low market access harms local industry by reducing the output of buildings and the profit of RGO. But it doesn't say exactly anywhere what it in fact impacts. If you go to like any location, like for example Gdańsk, and you go to the tax base and click on it, you'll be having a list of the buildings and what they produce. So for example, when I hover on brewery and then hover on how much of the good they produce, you see they're producing 1.91 of the beer, and to be exact on the amount, you see one of the things that is over here is called market access, which you see is modifying the production, the output you're having of all of the buildings in a location, reduced by the lacking percentage of the market access. What it means, it is not worth to have one big market for all of your locations, because it's reducing your actual production. It is worth for your ease, to better manage the markets and do the right trades. It is not good for productivity. That's why I'll be saving money now to create a second market, and not even in Gdańsk, because I wanted to spread nicely on my northern Poland locations. I will create a new market that is most likely gonna be in Toruń, or maybe something more central, like Sierpc or Płock. I think Płock, let's see the map again. You spread here, and you spread here. I think Toruń is what I'll be using for the northern part of Poland. Foreign cultural law we unlocked from an advance. It's having not that bad of a choice, honestly, because this is culture's capacity, very useful. This non-cultural levy size, but more importantly, maximum tax for the peasants. And I have more maximum tax available, so it's not needed. And here's assimilation speed and cultural influence, and that's what I'm gonna use. The reformation is spreading in our locations, so all these buildings happening. That might be a problem later on, but we'll see. The control map is in turn updated. That's how the new map looks like. This is gonna drop down, I took it from the subject. Could be honestly better, there's some visual bugs as well, but I'm still working on that as usual. It's time to attack Bohemia anyway. Wrocław. And you see the stats of the ruler already around the hundreds, thanks to the 15s. Let's declare already. I will get all of my troops around here. These guys will be working in pairs. How many troops Bohemia would bring? A bit strong. We are a bit stronger. We are far a bit stronger. 45,000 levies, and then we have regulars. And how about alliances? Do they have? Yeah, they have no one. I think that war should be much easier than the previous one. Especially that now I'm also prepared with all the forts. See, when I start the war, my subjects raise 100,000 troops. But because of they raise 100,000 troops, They all get disloyal the moment that happens. They attacked me, I'm just curious. So this all levies. There's no professional enemies here, so I think with my arquebusiers, I should be destroying them. Yeah. 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 That's a much easier war than the previous one. Well, destroying them maybe is a big tool of war, but you see, it's 2x losses we are dealing now. This is the time of the professional armies taking over from levies. And I think I was mentioned that in one of my guides that do prioritize technologies that give you new unit types, because that's a massive advantage over the AIs that not really prioritize this. See, the losses are almost 4-1, and AI is doing a better job, you know, at least locally conquering stuff in nature. It's a huge boost for the player expansion, because now I'm just, you know, improving relations with the biggest nation here, and I think taking over Silesia should not be that much hurting, but yeah, of course that UI is not fully clear who is below there in these countries and how much AE they get. Here we go. I hope it's not gonna be too much of AE antagonism. I told you I'll be taking over Silesia, and it's totally fine. Italians need some improvement, but I will be not releasing subjects here. These lands will be having high proximity and high control, and what's also important, I took over a silver mine here and a gold mine here. As you can see when I open the map, like you look how the cities are following the Vistol River. This is just so lovely, and then of course we got this agglomeration. So I'm not even touching the trade capacity that I got because of the Bohemian War, as I will lose lots of it anyway. So let me wait for that market to be created to redo our trade. Okay, so see, our tax base is 1992, so it's around the level that I had when I was switching the capital. I told you the loss of the core lands here, the control it was making it hard short term, but long term is gonna be worth it. It's 1992, the market is created, so I should take a look at it. See, we have a dual market between Toruń and Kraków, and let's now, for example, Gdańsk is up to 88% of the control of the market access. See, 1992. That should be an improvement to the tax base like immediately after Mavtik, up to 2,200. And same way, once I'll be getting more trains here, I should be creating, probably maybe I just have to take over Riga market, and I should also get more trade capacity. Actually in Kyiv I have quite decent one because I annex subjects. I'm letting AI automate it, and it's not that bad. It's 80 compared to 216 in Kraków. And now I think I'm gonna deal with Kraków and Toruń manually, while all the others will be automated. Let me work on that. So now my trading is 171. Let's work on it. So see, in the end it also boosts my trading overall is 250, where Toruń is not as good as Kraków, but still strong. I just also don't have that much of trade capacity here, so let me build not even marketplaces, but some new trade building. That gives even more trade capacity than the previous one. Update those characters count 234, and if you look just at the crown characters, look how many good characters we also have. We just unlock a new guarantee form. Let's see what I would like to take. Honestly, that's not that big of a choice, but I think I will go for plutocratic ethos, as it gives legislative efficiency. That's less antagonism you're receiving, and parliament-based support. How about we actually expand to Wielki Novgorod at last? So let's call our parliament to speed up the integration process. I know I still have subjects disloyal, but I'm steadily annexing more and more, and I think it's just because I have so many fiefdoms, so I'll try releasing vassals instead of fiefdoms this time. They'll be held by both Moscow and Smolensk, so it should not be a abysmal war. They should have decent amount of the troops with the levies, but the question is, are they good enough for me now? They actually have 35,000 troops, but Yeah, it's nothing. Oh, there it goes, Nicolaus Copernicus. So he created the magnum opus on revolutions of the heavenly spheres, but historically I could remove it. Or I could make Duchowieństwo not so happy, but get 15 research progress. Oh, and that killed my king. He got a heart attack. Well, here we go again with improving our ruler's stats to something better. Before I piece out Wielki Novgorod, let me make sure to get the Papal Bull that actually gives AE impact, antagonist impact, because that's gonna be plenty of antagonists across the world. Like you see, Bohemians are getting some. With half of advances done in this age, I will actually go to age the traditions because we unlocked meritocracy recently, and this will be extremely cheap. Because you'll see, we can actually check it here. The cost is reduced a lot because it's an old age. And in general, the meritocracy has some really nice privileges like efficiency of the cabinet. See, there's tax efficiency, trade efficiency, legislative efficiency, etc. The bonus from the Papal Bull, the list doesn't look that bad. That's 500,000 people that we just took over from Novgorod. And of course cut off the capital for the rest of the country like we did in the previous episode with Lithuania. And I want to first see updated loyalty of the subjects once they remove the levies. And then I'll try releasing here vassals, not fiefdoms. You see the guys that are released here, like for example Luskaya, Jan Poles. The loyalty is full because there's no impact from all of the vassals. Strength versus us. Something that I'm having issues with, a bit too many of fiefdoms. Now with this guy finished changing the societal value to capital economy, I can use him for something else, like for example integrating some of the locations. We finally became the great power number 1. We are the most powerful country in the world, just above the Mamluks. The Council of Trent situation just started. I'll look soon what it does. You see, the amount of the lands owned directly by us increased a lot today. I'll actually give it a monthly soon, but let's take a look at the Council of Trent. So there's some debate you can start about various laws of the Catholic Church. Simony, etc. Yeah, we'll take a look if there's anything really interesting. See, I'm getting rid of all of these subjects. It's giving me still on around 30 of them being disloyal, but it doesn't mean I'm not earning money. I'm earning 300 ducats a month from all the subjects. And I think I'm gonna finish the episode here. Let me show you some stats, because I know some of you asked. So 2,500 base tax with 2,000 of income. This is our map of control. You see, I just conquered all of this. This is our map of proximity. This is the map of the cultures. In case you're wondering where is the Lesser Polish. Yeah, I'm getting it spread across the country very nicely. And we are in a good position to continue going into Bohemia. And maybe I should clear borders with Hungary in the next episode, but definitely do clear Russian terrains. Why fixing the amount of the fiefdoms we are having? We are definitely using fiefdoms. This guy turned to remove them, by the way. I think it's our subjects changing that region, but we're using the fiefdoms to increase our ruler stats. That's something that keeps going on and scaling nicely our country. Like, for example, we have higher base tax than France has. Great success. For today, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to get notified about the next episodes, as we'll be going through the ages. And I'm gonna see you very soon.